All right, preparing. Hey, good afternoon, Ward Wrestling Live. We're here with with another amazing wrestling coach in our country. He was also an amazing wrestler too. So, three-time Missouri State finalist, two-time state champ. At Central Michigan, he was first and second at the MAC. He spent 7 years coaching at Brown. Currently the head coach at Naval Academy Prep. He's also Bears Wrestling Club coach over in Rhode Island, and he also coaches the national team in Rhode Island. So we're very blessed and honored to have Mr. Tyler Grayson with us. How are you, Coach? Thank you so much for coming on. It's an honor to have you, and welcome.
No, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Man, it's really cool to get to meet people through this platform and get to learn for myself, but also get to hear everybody's stories. And a guy like you has had a great run, and you're at the second school coaching. I mean, going from Brown to Naval Academy Prep, that's two high end places. Good for you, man. So, what's been going on this off season? Talk about kind of the ups and downs we've been going through here.
Well, right now this is the longest off season I've ever been a part of. With COVID going on, so it's been a big change. Just for me as a coach, not being able to get to work with wrestlers, but we're slowly working through the process, and I'm hopefully expecting here in Rhode Island to be working with some guys here in the next month or so as we kind of advance in our phases.
Awesome. Yeah. So you had mentioned, I know we talked briefly prior to coming on, but it sounds like they're starting to allow some kids to get back on campus.
Yeah. So our, we've been just us being a military school. We're working through our process of, doing whatever we can to keep the kids safe for their return. And then with that return, keeping them safe on the base, making sure everybody's going to get tested. Everybody's going to kind of be kind of quarantine a little bit, make sure everybody's healthy. And then once, those tests come back, if you test positive, you're going to probably be quarantined. And those that aren't, I think they're going to probably move forward with our training and things like that. So we are a training command, so military, academic, and athletics. So the biggest thing is just making sure it's a safe environment for everybody.
Wow, nice. So as they come back on base, they're going to get swabbed.
Yeah, so it's off the top of my head, they're still working out the kinks, but I know it's going to be probably about a 3-day process. They're only going to allow so many people on at a time as they're getting moved in. Masks will be worn, social distancing will be required, and just getting everybody moved in and just tested and kind of getting them in their place. So it's going to be a long 3 days getting everybody on base.
Wow, yeah, and then you've got to separate those that have it from those who don't, I'm sure.
Yes, so not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but we got about 3 weeks to get ready and to get that figured out.
Well, good. Well, at least they're coming back, so you're going to get some obviously some opportunity to do something. Whether I know you do the strength and conditioning there as well.
Yes.
So whether it's going to be strength and conditioning or it's going to be wrestling, at least you're going to be able to do something, or even watching video, breaking down moves, whatever it might be. At least something will be going on.
Yes.
That's awesome. So I know that it is high school now. You went from Brown, which is a college,
Mm-hmm.
to coaching at a college prep, which is which is a high school. So talk about going from coaching college kids back to the high school wrestling and coaching the high schoolers and putting them through the recruiting process and doing all, getting these guys ready not only for their military careers but their college careers.
Yeah, it's going in. I will say it's a very, very big difference. Going from college to to the prep route. But I don't get a very large team. I'm anywhere between 8 to 12 kids. So I'm doing a lot of like managing with them academically and making sure there's, that's the most important thing. It's academics. And along with that, just, retraining them, getting them, breaking down the basics with wrestling and just getting them prepared to go to the Naval Academy. And then we also, we get Coast Guard recruits as well. So we have a few Coast Guard kids and just getting them prepared, as they transition to the Coast Guard the following year.
Well, so you're in, I guess you would be in communication now with Colat, is that his name?
Yes, Kerry Colott, yes.
So now you have to, I'm sure you're communicating with him since he took over the Naval Academy and talking about your wrestlers and next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually talked with him last week. Just him getting familiar with the Naval Academy and things like that, what they do there, and just kind of talk with him about how we operate and what we do, and just like ways for him to help us down here, since we're such a small team, and our training and things that we do is very, very time oriented. And so, our kids, their day starts at 6 a.m. and they have it timed all the way until about 10 p.m. when they go to bed. So, it's academics for the majority of the day. It's, athletic training period time. There's military instruction in there. There's, kind of study times in there. So it's a tough process, but, we get through it, and we do whatever we can to get the kids prepared for next year.
Well, and the requirement is if when you graduate from Naval Academy Prep, you go to Naval Academy, correct?
Yes.
So Scotty Sentis can't hit you up and be like, yo, send him down here to Georgia. or South Carolina or wherever he is.
Oh, they're in North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah. Your boy can't be talking to you about, hey, send some of them Navy boys down here.
Oh, he could try, but I don't think it's gonna work. No, but that's great having being with prep and then also doing the wrestling club round with the national team, because there actually are 2 wrestlers from Rhode Island who I've worked with in the past who are at Campbell right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've talked with them about some kids before.
That's perfect, man. Well, talk about Rhode Island wrestling. Talk about your Bears Wrestling Club. I know that means a lot to you, and that gives you opportunity to not only work with your Navy kids, but to work with, state kids and be able to grow Rhode Island wrestling. So tell us about Rhode Island Wrestling, Bears Wrestling Club, and what's going on there, the craziness of youth wrestling.
I think I really enjoy working with the youth wrestlers. It's very, very, very humbling. It kind of keeps you grounded. Because working with the college kids, you're getting some of the best wrestlers in the country, and so they're coming in. You're working with them, just kind of like they already know what they're doing. They're wrestling Division I in college for a reason, so it's just kind of fine tuning, like technique and just getting them ready, to compete and things like that. But with the little guys, it's you got to keep their attention every 5-10 minutes, because they're staring off into space, looking at their feet, wanting to pick the football and throw around and just kind of horseplay and have fun a little bit.
Ball.
So it's good, because when I first got to Brown, we kind of had we were called the Ocean State Wrestling Club, and we didn't put a lot of time into it. And when I first got to Brown, there was wrestling in Rhode Island was decent. But you could tell there was a lot of potential, a lot of kids, but there was really no year-round or no off-season clubs that really trained too much. And kind of as I was going through Brown, Dave Amato was head coach there for 30 years. He retired, and Todd Beckerman came in. And one of the things that he wanted to do coming in is help build the youth program at the school, and have him train there at Brown and kind of get kids thinking about it. And I kind of went from the second assistant up to the head assistant, and I still worked with some kids, kind of go at the club practices whenever I could. But I was more focused on recruiting and things like that. And as I kind of transitioned out of Brown to the prep school, I talked with Todd, and he's like, hey, you still want to do wrestling club? And because I still live in the area. And I'm like, yeah, I can continue to do it. And we put a lot of time and energy into it. And I would say when I first started, actual like members, I want to say maybe 15 to 20. And now I would say we're up to about 40 to 50. We get kids from Massachusetts, some coming from Connecticut. We get a lot of kids from all over the state coming and working with us. So it's been going well.
Man, that's awesome. And how are you able to split your time?
It's difficult. Um, with the way our schedule works at Navy Prep, I have a lot of like my evenings are free, so there's no more, recruiting calls, no more like weekend like visits, do recruiting trips and stuff like that. And so I've been able to like have this extra time, and I'm kind of like, well, I'm not gonna go home and just sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
I get it.
Yeah, and so like I've been able to do the club thing full time, and then also like add in like doing some individual lessons with kids, and just as we've kind of grown and gotten better, other clubs in the state have also done the same. And it's kind of everybody in the area is kind of like just raising that level of expectations, raising the level of wrestling in the state. And just you see the state of Rhode Island, kind of growing and guys doing well.
Man, that's awesome. Well, good for you, and congratulations growing that team. Um, Talk about the impact of missing Fargo and what that had on your wrestlers and your club, and just probably on the country, right?
Yeah. So I guess a quick little short story about like Rhode Island at Fargo. I became the national team director 3 years ago. And because there had been a couple years gone by where nobody from Rhode Island had even gone to Fargo. So we had no representation. So, the first year I went, I took one guy, Andrew Fallon. He's actually wrestling at American this year. And he went 5-2. And
Wow.
I'm like, we did all right. And then the next year I brought 3 guys. And I'm like, all right, we're growing. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing well. And guys were going and we were winning matches. And those 3 guys were Mason Clark. He's actually going to Columbia this year. Josiah Fry, who's actually going to wrestle at Campbell. And then Nick Fine, he's going to be a senior this year, but he's going to Columbia as well the following year. And so those are 3 guys I took the second year. And then last year, I took 9 guys.
Wow. So
And
you're growing.
Yep. And then Josiah Fry was an All-American, took 5th, a 113 there. And, this year the expectation was to go with about 15.
Oh, nice.
And then Beat the Streets is in the area, and the women, they actually had 4 women from Rhode Island wrestle at Fargo as well.
That's
so
awesome.
we've been growing all around, which is great. And, just kind of me in high school, I remember just, training, going to Fargo, and just going and just seeing a lot of college coaches there, and, being able to compete against the best guys in the country. Cause when you get to the college level, that's how it's going to be. And I've gone to recruit, see all the college coaches. And then when I started taking the guys, you just, the back of my mind, it's like, man, like this is a great opportunity these kids are going to miss. This is another full weekend of wrestling that these guys can get in front of college coaches. And, for me, it's easy being in the college kind of realm, knowing a lot of coaches, and they see some guys out there from Rhode Island, and they're like, hey, who's this kid? Like, who's that kid?
Yeah, growing that little place up there, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, hey man, he's pretty good. You gotta keep an eye out. Like he's a good student. You gotta keep an eye on him.
You got to box out your boy Scotty, right?
Oh yeah, I gotta keep him at a distance.
I tried to hit him up this morning when I was before I got in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's busy, man.
He's the head guy now. Definitely busy.
Him and DT and Michalak, I got to meet them all. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I call him Michalak and he says it's Mahalik. I keep
Mahalik, yeah.
that up, but
I was actually teammates with him as well.
yeah, he was a beast, huh? That's what I heard.
Yeah, I was teammates with him for 3 years. He graduated my sophomore year, then he was on the coaching staff, so I had him as a coach for another year. So I never went very well.
Well, obviously, Coach Borelli does really well with his athletes, because everybody I've spoke to is doing really well in life. So that's an awesome thing. So I did have somebody reach out, Coach Cerullo down here in Pasco, and he asked, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being at a military school like the Navy or the Army?
Um, I think one of the biggest things that you got to look at with the military academies, as compared to, just a regular school, when you look at the academies, you got to look, over the next 10 years, because not only is it like for me, if you come to the prep, it's 10, but if you go to straight to the Naval Academy as a direct, it's 4 years at the school, and then 5 years after, it's 9 years. But you have to look at like kind of a 10-year gap, because you're going to be obligated to have military service when you're done. And so I think a lot of people are like, I guess one advantage, but a lot of kids kind of look at it the wrong way. It's, when you go to one of the academies, like, your school's paid for and you get paid because you are an active duty military member, but you're in a training command capacity. So you're also like a student as well.
When you go from the prep to the academy, or when you just go straight into the academy?
Both.
Wow.
Both. So they're all enlisted, sworn in. You're active duty military, but academically, you're a college student. And so if you look at just advantage of that, going to school for free, getting paid, that's great. And then also you have a job lined up once you graduate, and that's any other school you don't necessarily have that, so it's great to have. But some kids kind of look at it, they'll show up like, oh, school's free, but they don't necessarily want to be in the military, and they get there and it's like a very, very tough transition. It's like, man, it's almost like you get kids and you're like, what'd you expect?
Right.
Did you not expect to get up at 6 a.m. like in the morning and go to class and do military training and be an athlete on top of that? So, and I think some people look at it as a negative. It's just very, very structured. And it's like, you can't just leave, like on a college campus, you can leave campus whenever you want. When you're on the base, you can't necessarily just leave. So you're kind of stuck there at your military command, and where
You're not really, you would say, there's definitely the advantages are what you said as far as education paid for, and you got a job afterward. Disadvantages, if you're looking for that college lifestyle,
Yes,
that's not it.
correct.
Wow. Well, hey, I mean, now is the prep 9 to 12, 9 through 12?
No, it is just PGs. So so we'll get some kids that are enlisted. So we'll get general kids, like, they're seniors in high school, they graduate, they do a year at the Naval Academy. So it's like 13th grade. It's like I'm doing a PG year.
So they're all postgrads.
Yes. But then there are some kids that are enlisted. They're prior military enlisted. So they'll be out in the fleet for 2 or 3 years, and they'll apply to the Naval Academy, and they'll send them to the prep school for a year to see where they're at academically.
Oh, so it's kind of like when you apply for college and you got to take that pre-exam, that placement exam.
Yes. And so we'll kind of get a little bit of mix of both.
Nice. Well, that's good that they have that. That gives, it's good because if you have kids that want to go to the academy, but maybe they're not academically ready for it, you're not just throwing them away. You're giving them an opportunity to go down to the prep and get them ready and prepared and giving them an opportunity.
Yep, correct.
So, that's awesome. All right. So a secret birdie told me to ask this question. So how and why did you turn your academics around after your first semester freshman year at Central Michigan?
So my freshman year was, especially that first semester, it was not good. It was bad. I think, when you're senior high school, you go to college, there's kind of like in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, I don't have to study kind of thing. I can just go to class. But then you get to college, like, you have those early morning workouts in the fall, you have your open room, you're a little tired, and you're just kind of like, I'm not going to go to class today. So kind of fell into that trap with some of the classes, just not going to class, not doing homework, or just procrastinating, just not doing a good job at my work. And then after the first semester, I went home, and I was more scared of what my mom was going to do more than anything. But she was just like, you go back to school and you flunk out, like, don't plan on coming back here. And it was kind of like, I think she did that just to scare me. I don't think she would have like threw me out on the street or anything. But I was just, whenever that happens in Central Michigan, you essentially have to I remember like sitting down writing this essay to essentially reapply to get back into school.
Oh, wow.
And about like, what happened, what I plan on changing. And then you go back and you take this class called academic recovery. And so I was in this class and I was back, and you kind of go in, they, it's almost like learning skills where like, study habits to get into, like tools to utilize. They even let students, like every student had to tell their story. Like, why did you struggle?
That's awesome.
And so you sit back and you listen to people talk and you kind of go through, and I was like, I don't want any uncertainty at the end of this year. I want to know that I'm coming back. And so it was that. And then this is a part of the story. I don't know so my academic recovery class ran through practice. And so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I would be late every day. Well, my Tuesday in practice, I had to go back and show up, and I had to wrestle with Mitch Hancock, who was the head coach at Detroit Catholic Central. So he was my workout partner on those days. And I was just like, this is absolutely terrible and it's miserable. But I think they almost did it to like make a point. And I think it successfully worked.
And probably for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And how Connor Beebe said, "What's up, TG? Great super duck." And power double.
Yep.
That's awesome, because how much better of a mentor to young kids has that situation made you to make them understand, hey, yo, it's no joke. When you get there, you got to be ready.
I think me coming to Brown, that's one thing where academically, like some kids, you got to get in their butt a little bit and like tell them that's got to be a priority, because you don't do your academics, you're not staying here. So that's got to be a priority. But then the kids that we were getting at Brown, it's like they knew the importance of academics.
Yeah, that's like when I talked to the Princeton coach, Coach Ayers.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, I tell these guys when I'm recruiting them, like, hey, look, this isn't, he says, I literally try to scare them. Like, this ain't no joke. Like, you come to Princeton, you need to be able to make it just like Brown. I'm sure Cornell, Penn.
Any of the Ivies, yes.
Yeah, so they got to be ready to go. So, yeah, I'm sure you didn't have any academically challenged people that got accepted to Brown.
No. The kids here, they actually, it kind of drove me. I graduated in 2010, 2015. I actually applied and went to grad school and actually finished grad school while still coaching. But I just saw what the kids were doing, how important academics and the doors it can open and what it would do for you. And they just like motivated me. And I'm just like, man, like I need to get my master's degree. Going back to school and doing that, on top of coaching, it was a lot of work. But we're on road trips and our kids are like, oh, I got homework, I got this or that. I'm like, hey man, I got it too. Like, let's get to work.
That's perfect. And lead by example, right?
Yeah. So it was good.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, before I get into my 10 questions for you, God bless you, what you do for your family, your friends, the wrestling community. This is why I started this, to talk to guys like you and Connor and Scotty and Coverly and everybody out there. And as a matter of fact, that was Coverly that was trying to come in. I was trying to surprise you with your old drill partner, but I don't know what happened. He must have got busy. He couldn't. It looked like he was trying to come in, but then he didn't come in. I'm trying to get your old drill partner on here.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. was working at it.
Oh, man,
So,
would have been great seeing him.
yeah, he must have got tied up with something. I don't know. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I got to read my own handwriting. Leisure Bay Coffee or Newport Commissary?
Leisure Bay.
All right. The Seaview Lanes or the Newport Dinner Theater?
I actually haven't been to either.
Okay, well,
No.
don't answer then. Well, I can change it to bowling or a movie.
Bowling for sure.
There you go. Mission or Brick Alley?
Brick Alley.
Antonio's or Carmela's?
Antonio's.
Cliff Walk or Secret Garden?
Cliff Walk.
That seemed pretty cool when I was looking at it. It looked pretty dope.
It's nice.
Yeah. Family Fun Park or Carousel Village?
Carousel Village.
Newport Brewing or Cuttington Brewing?
See, Newport Brewing used to be Newport Storm, and I had been to Newport Storm, and they recently changed their name. So, and I have not been to Cottington yet, so I'll go with Newport.
All right.
Newport Brewing.
All right. Stuffies or Hot Wieners?
Stuffies.
Boy, you were quick there.
Oh yeah.
Zeppelis or Doughboys?
Doughboys.
Coffee milk or Dell's frozen lemonade?
Coffee milk.
Man, Rhode Island's got some special stuff going on there, man. I think people are like, this is like a well-kept secret. Like, go to vacation in Rhode Island.
I'm telling you, like, I'm like being from Missouri and then coming out here. I just like fell in love with the place, and it's a small state. It has a lot to offer. Nice beaches, awesome seafood.
Yeah, man, I was seeing all that when I was, when I do these shows. Initially, at the beginning of it, I would ask like 10 wrestling questions, whatever, right? But it kind of got monotonous. So I kind of changed it up, and now I try to design the questions around an area where whoever I'm interviewing is either living, has been living, or at, so it's made it fun. And I'm getting to learn about these different cities and states, like different delicacies. Like, I don't know what the heck, I didn't know what a stuffy was, but it's almost like like a clam, like an oyster Rockefeller type thing.
Yeah, it's like a very large clam, and it's just think of like Thanksgiving stuffing, and it's kind of balled up, but like they have like clam pieces in it, and just like different ones that they make chorizo, like
Ooh,
ones they're so good.
dip it in like some hot butter or something.
Oh, you hot butter. Oh,
I love it, man. That's good, man. I'm gonna have to check it out. I was telling my son, I hope, and I was talking to my uncle. My aunt and uncle live out in Princeton. Now they moved back in several years ago. That's where they went to school, and they've kind of fell in love with wrestling. They were out at the East. What's that tournament that the Ivy Leagues go to? It's like the Eastern Tournament or something.
Yeah, WAs.
At Lehigh.
Yes.
They said that was the last large event they went to before the quarantine, and that was really fun.
Oh yeah, it's a great tournament.
Yeah, I think they said Princeton came in like second or fourth or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, hey, if you ever need a place to stay, come up. I was going to bring the boys up for the summer camp for the first time up there, but I was telling them I'd love to get my son up there in the Northeast and do like some club hopping,
Oh yeah.
But not like, like the wrestling club hopping, and check out. That would be fun.
There's 3 wrestling clubs if you drive up 95, because it takes about an hour to drive through the entire state of Rhode Island from north to south. And as you're coming from the south side, there's Mayo Quanchi. They're a judo club, but that's where Josiah Fry and Mason Clark, who I work with, they wrestle down there. And then you pop up, and we have Bears Wrestling Club in Providence, and you keep going a little farther north, and you run into Cumberland, where they have a wrestling club up there. So.
Oh wow, nice. The Cumberlands, isn't that? I think that's where I talked to a gentleman, Brian Stout, up in Pennsylvania. I think he was like the only four-timer ever, like four-time All-American ever out of that school.
Possibly Cumberland has like a rich history in wrestling. Their team just won the state. They believe they won a state tournament this past year. They always have a really good wrestling team there.
Yeah, it was. It's fun to meet people all around, but that Northeast up there is crazy. How long is the drive from, let's say, Princeton to you?
Only about 5 hours.
Really? So not bad. So I could do like, I could do, like if I'm up there for a week, I could kind of bounce around.
Yeah, like from Princeton, you get up to New York City, and then we're about 3.5 hours from New York City, and then we're about an hour south of Boston.
And there's some clubs there too that are good, right?
Oh yeah, Harvard's up in the Boston area, and a lot of places to go
Fun,
to.
man. I'd love to do that. We need to get over the fear of this,
Oh yeah.
So, well, I wish you the best, Coach Grayson, and I'm very honored to get to meet you. And I've gotten to meet a lot of people from your alma mater, and like I said, Borelli's doing a great job, and I mean, you're at Naval Academy, Sentis and Mahalik are over there. BB's got his own place going. Coverly's up with his dad, I think, up there.
Oh yeah. We got there's another wrestling club we got in Wisconsin, Higher Level Wrestling. They're another big wrestling club in the Wisconsin area. Another one of our teammates runs that club over there.
Wow, yeah, I mean, I would love if you still have my link, or I'll message you my cell phone number, and then you can hit me up and I'll send you my link. And if you could share it with them, I'd love to have them on.
Yeah, we gotta track that guy down. He's got 5 kids. He's pretty busy, but I'm sure he can squeeze some time in.
All right, man. Well, hey, be safe, live life, have a good time, and take care, man. I do appreciate you.
All right, thank you. You too. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. It was fun.